guys. Thanks for joining. It's the second day of the Longevity Docs Conference, and I am so excited to tell you about the day. I'm sorry I did not jump on it earlier. I had to give a moderated group, and so it was a lot of fun, and I'm going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about the host, Tanya Elliott from Westport, who's giving a remarkable breakdown of where we're going and doing an excellent job with tracking. Today, the first lecture was up by Dr. Amy Killen, one of my soul sisters. She's absolutely amazing. And she gave us a 20-minute, and I promise, when Amy talks, she is succinct, she is funny, and we saw all of that today. She was amazing. She gave us her hormones playbook. And the most important thing from this talk, I think, was really cool. I got to pull up the notes here so I remember her mnemonic, right? Now, a mnemonic, you're supposed to be able to remember. So I'm going to remember without looking at the letters. So Amy is a regenerative medicine specialist that also focuses on women's health and hormones. And so Amy's playbook is predominantly on women's hormones, but she also does men as well. And her playbook mnemonic is something called beast mode. Yeah, right. Because she takes care of men too. So as you can imagine. So beast mode is a mnemonic for how she approaches women's hormone health. And put simply, it's interesting. She favors bioidenticals over pharmaceutical manufactured. So B is bioidentical. E is early treatment. There are over 25 randomized controlled trials that indicate that estrogen helps with preventing risk for heart attacks, strokes. It also reduces risk of hip fractures. But you have to protect your heart and brain in order to do that. All the treatment indicates early treatment. So E is for early treatment. A, which is, I don't want to get flagged on Substack, but A stands for all Venjingos, all bottom parts that ladies have, need estrogen. Okay? All of them need estrogen. It doesn't matter what age. She went through and detailed exactly the candidates for estrogen using that modality. And guess what? She's right. It's basically everyone. Next up, S in beast mode means systemic estrogen. That means taking estrogen orally. And remember, the Women's Health Initiative went over a estrone, right? Not an estradiol, not a bioidentical. All estrogen systemically needs progesterone. Progesterone, she said, is like a general contractor making sure that your workers don't work overtime. And I think that's a really important takeaway with that is you need a balance. You need a yin and yang, and you have to combine them effectively. And so all systemic estrogen needs progesterone. So that's the S. T is for testosterone. She says testosterone on an as-needed basis. So if you're going to a women's health clinic where they shove testosterone at you, you might not need it. And so you have to ask yourself, am I getting combo number 5 or am I getting exactly what I need? And I think, yet again, Dr. Killen kills it. Next up is mode. So the M for mode is memory screenings, right? Get your breast screenings, stay active. Estrogen does not cause breast cancer, just like testosterone does not cause prostate cancer. But there are some tumors that are estrogen responsive and you have to track them. Next up, O is for optimized. Optimal, not normal. And so even if you have normal levels, you may not be optimized and you have to use symptoms to drive and understand that. D is for dose. We dose not to get a level. We dose to prevent bad outcomes, hip fractures, osteoporosis, MIs, and heart attacks. So make your dose according to prevention. Next up, E, endometrial ultrasound. When all else fails, get an endometrial ultrasound. If you're worried about the bleeding, get an endometrial ultrasound. Pretty simple, nothing crazy. That's beast mode. And it was probably the most powerful part of her talk out there. Next up, she talked about the goals for estrogen, and her goal levels are 65 to 150. And lastly, she left with only 5% of women are taking proper estrogen supplementation, and so many more should. The problem is doctors are scared. And that's predominantly from the Women's Health Initiative. It's very similar to the issue I talked about with men and testosterone, except rather than worrying about the DEA kicking down your door, you are worried about giving a patient a heart attack and a stroke, when in fact, the evidence suggests early treatment with proper estradiol reduces that risk. So that's lecture number one. Up next was actually one of my mentors, Dr. Pradeep Albert. Man, I don't even know where to start. Right, I've got a couple regenerative medicine mentors that are just amazing people. Pradeep Albert is one of those men. He's an interventional radiologist who's been trained in regenerative medicine. He lives and breathes stem cells. He has facilities in Antigua. He lives in PR, and he dispenses fantastic guidance and treatment. In fact, he just wrote a book on longevity that's absolutely fantastic. You should check it out. So Dr. Albert talked about exosomes, PRP, and stem cells. He talked about the fact that not all stem cells are equal, and there are different subpopulations of stem cells, including the Muse cells, which are a mesenchymal type of stem cell, but they are pluripotent, which is a little bit better than most mesenchymal stem cells. He also talked about PRP and how the essentials of PRP include concentration, activation, lymphocyte count, whether you used a single spin or a second spin, whether you used additives in your PRP, and whether or not you are able to deliver it effectively. And so he has a mnemonic called CAVS. I won't get into that. I'm going to write an article about that for you guys. But he talked extensively about exosomes, and he gave a huge warning about exosomes. Number one, he believes that exosomes are one of the most powerful anti-inflammatories out there. But you need to know what an exosome is and what is in it. If you don't know what's in the exosome, you should not be injecting the exosome. What does that mean? Is that talking to a rep about how many millions of exosomes there are? No. Platelets have tons of exosomes. You need to make sure you have the right exosomes done the right way, monitored properly. If you don't monitor that and you start injecting stuff, you're going to get burnt. Okay? So we talked about exosomes. The next thing he talked about was actually stem cells, Muse cells, and how to effectively make sure that you have more rejuvenated stem cells. Up next was actually Dr. Sewell, who is another interventional radiologist. Talked about gene therapy in a really fantastic way. He talked about the gene therapies available. He talked using adenoviral vectors. Next up was my moderated panel. That panel was with Dobry Kiprov, who basically has brought therapeutic plasma exchange to the United States. Sorry, guys, I apologize, but it looks like we're on lunch break. So I'm going to go quick through this before we head out to lunch. Dr. Kiprov and Dr. Burnow. So Dr. Matthias Burnow is the CEO of Cellco Labs, which uses allogeneic stem cells. These are cells that are obtained from harvest from donors. Now, in the United States, you cannot use allogeneic stem cells without an IND. Now, his thought is donors that are 18 to 30 years old have better stem cells. The data does show that younger stem cells have less senescence. And it's not like you gain more wisdom from older stem cells. You don't. But the question is, are cells from another person safer now? And so Dr. Kiprov was able to talk about this, and I thought it was excellent, and Dr. Burnow also. So Dr. Kiprov has been building therapeutic plasma exchange with research, including a randomized control trial, which is unheard of in the field, which showed that therapeutic plasma exchange indeed changed all the biomarkers identified in the hallmarks of longevity in a good way. All right. You can change them in a bad way, but Dr. Kiprov was able to demonstrate that therapeutic plasma exchange was to get them in a good way. And this was built on over 30 plus years of data, maybe almost 50 now, from the 1970s. Dr. Burnow and his company Cellco Labs are sprinting, literally sprinting with stem cells, trying not to break stuff. And they've got a good regulatory hold on that. And I think that's fantastic. Again, I'm really sorry, guys, but I promised you live real time, and here we are at lunch break live real time. I put some hard questions to the two of them. I really did. And I asked them, what are the barriers? And the first barrier is cost. The second barrier is regulation. And in fact, Dr. Burnow talked that some of these treatments with allogeneic stem cells can be $30,000 or $40,000 a piece. In addition, Dr. Kiproff said, I'm not going to go to price, but there are a lot of people charging way more than I am that I taught. He said, I taught these people. And then he said, there are other people that I didn't teach, and you can tell. And so I asked them, what is the risk? And how can you tell you're going to get a good therapeutic plasma exchange or good stem cells? I think both of the panel members agreed. Number one, it's got to be GMP certified. Number two, you have to have experience. Experience is the key when using procedures for patients. Get trained by someone with experience, learn from them, do a little fellowship, train, and always focus on the patient first. Okay, I'm going to go to lunch, and then I'll wrap up the back half of the lectures from the Longevity Docs Summit in Cannes, France. To all of you listening, I appreciate it. I know it's like 6 o'clock in the morning in the United States. To all of those not in the US, it's good to see you. And for everyone, I wish that you achieve your goals of a life well lived. It's Dr. Murphy signing off. Time for lunch.